Tesla's stock had one hell of a day today. Even though you had that weird end of the day sell-off in the NASDAQ, which was just out of nowhere, really no rhyme or reason for this. Some people speculate it was end of the quarter rebalancing. Friday markets are closed. We get PCE data, personal spending, as well as a new speech from Fed Jerome Powell. So there's a lot of speculation to what caused this drop towards the end of the day today. But neither here or there. Tesla stock, despite that, was still up 3%, up another 0.5% in after hours. At one point today, Tesla stock was up 6%. And this was after Wall Street just started to understand what Tesla has been showing its retail investor base for the last couple of months. Improvements on FSD, Optimus likely starting to be shipped out to companies here over the next coming quarters and getting ever closer to the Robotaxi network. Guys, maybe I'm just crazy or maybe my risk appetite is growing larger, but I'm thinking about going all in on Tesla stock right now. Obviously, this is not something that the average investor should do. You should not have all of your portfolio in one stock. And that's not exactly what I'm saying. More so what I'm saying is I may be looking to put 6 figures of new money into work into Tesla because of what we're going to talk about here in this video. Whether you are a bull or you are a bear, this is one of those videos I don't think you want to miss. I'm going to go over exactly why this is, and it's not too often you get opportunities like we're seeing right now in Tesla stock. I am a firm believer if you have conviction in something, if you are confident and nobody can change your mind besides the data and the facts in which, well, they've actually been fortifying my opinions and conclusions around Tesla, then you should not be afraid to go after that. As Warren Buffett said, if you only had 20 investment decisions in your lifetime, you would get filthy rich. Because if you only had 20 investment decisions, you're going to make sure you are very confident in what you are buying. And when you're confident, you're going to go big in what you're confident in. And most of the time, you're going to be right, given an extended period of time. Again, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I do not in any way, shape, or form recommend that you put an oversized amount of money to work in any one specific stock, security, or equity, especially if you don't have 10 or 20 years to wait and see how things kind of play out. If you think you're going to need your money that you're investing in the markets over the next 10 years, you shouldn't be invested in the markets, or you should be in other areas of the markets that are less risk averse, because there's definitely risk in what we're going to talk about here in this video. But I've never been more confident in Tesla's next phase. And I'll share that with you here in this video. So I do apologize to some degree for the longer intro, but a couple important things that I wanted to put out there. I think we should just go ahead and get started. So I'll tell you right from the start why I'm looking at Tesla in the way that I am now. Potentially looking at putting 6 figures to work in this stock. I have multiple rental properties, and I'm looking to potentially pull even equity out of them to put even more money into Tesla. And the reason for this is I obviously wouldn't do this with some kind of penny stock, right? Tesla is a well-established, well-foundational business. Unless there is asteroids hurtling towards Tesla's megafactories, unless the Chinese government just randomly shuts down Tesla and the US consumer stops buying Teslas, which would be an astronomically low probability, I think Tesla is the best risk to reward out of your stable big tech names out there. Meaning at this stage where stocks are at, where markets are at, I do not believe any other big tech stock will 10x in value over the next 10 to 20 years. I don't think Microsoft will. I don't think Google will. I don't think Apple will. I don't think Nvidia will. I don't think any of your other big tech names will. Now, could other stocks 10x, 20, 30, 40, 50x? Of course. But they're not as See, you can get yourself in a little bit of trouble with the audience, and even on a regulatory basis by saying something is risk-free. Tesla's obviously not risk-free, but it's less risk prone than small cap stocks, than speculative stocks. And that's specifically why I like Tesla. Big potential upside down the line with relatively low risk over the long term. Again, unless there were to be some astronomically small probability event actually take place, which seems unlikely. So that's the start of, I guess, the foundation on why I like Tesla so much right now. The other big thing to point out is specifically right now, where Tesla stock is still down close to 30% year to date. The general consensus on Wall Street is Tesla's business is going to get worse. Things are going to get worse for Tesla. And what I'm finding researching Tesla every day, looking at order flows every day, trying to analyze the psychology of executives at Tesla and the management team, trying to figure out what the next move forward is, I think the markets are about to be wildly incorrect on Tesla. I think the market should have been this bearish on Tesla back in late 2022, 2023, when Tesla started to cut prices. I think the writing was on the wall then, and granted, I didn't exactly, catch it to the degree in which it happened. Didn't expect this many price cuts, this much margin erosion. But now that it's here, it's almost like you're at the peak of a rally and everyone's bullish. It feels like you're at the lows of the lows where everyone is bearish. So that's kind of another reason why I like Tesla a lot right now. You're probably going to get some upside surprises. Some of the changes I've seen in the Tesla management where you're at that pivot point, because you obviously don't want to put a lot of money to work if you're still a year or two away from the pivot point. Now, the pivot point is important because different markets have different so-called pivot points for stocks. You got to think what's important to the markets in any given moment of time. And prior to, 2022, really 2021, and back to the 2008 great financial crisis, the most important thing to the markets during that period of time was growth at all cost, was growing your user base, growing your top line revenue. And that was what stocks were rewarded based off of. Well, 2022 started something much different. Whether you think inflation is going down, is going up, the Fed's going to cut rates a lot or a little, something dynamically changed in our markets. That's a fact. And I'm pretty confident in saying that. Obviously, it's the markets. Nothing is guaranteed a fact. But I do think over the next foreseeable future, maybe 5-10 years, you're not going back to that growth at all cost phase. Even if rates go back to zero, I think companies that are profitable, that are growing profitability, are going to be seen in a much more favorable light, right? Obviously, if you're growing at astronomically fast paces, whatever, you're still losing money. Select specific stocks the markets might like, but I don't think you're ever going back to that growth at all cost phase. I think it's a lot more on profitability now. Circle back to Tesla. Tesla has been getting less and less and less and less profitable. I believe 2024 marked the start of a change for Tesla and for the Tesla management and for the Tesla business. Going ahead into the future, I believe Tesla is going to focus more on profitability than growing volumes. And there's a couple different reasons for this. I've talked about it many times here on the channel. I don't want to refresh it too much, but Tesla for the first time not giving full year guidance. That's 101. We're going to focus more on profitability right there. That's it. They're going to focus more on profitability. They did not give full year guidance. They don't have a target over their head of what they set. And, that just puts confidence up in the air. And it's just bad all around to set a target for unit growth and not hit it. It's not good. That means you probably have to cut prices and do the same things Tesla's been doing. Now they're not in that scenario. Number two, Tesla started raising prices of their vehicles, slowly but surely on the Model 3, especially the long-range variant here in the US, and even more recently, the Model Y in the US and China and in Europe, as well as Canada. All of their important markets, the prices just went up on the Model Y. Now, you also seen Tesla reduce the hours worked of their Chinese factory employees, and that was also a big positive, potentially. I believe Elon's going to do the best thing possible for Tesla. If that made the most sense, that's what Elon went with. I think with the central focus of focusing more on profitability. Think about it like this. If you want to reduce your workforce from, let's say, 25% of gross income down to 22%, what do? You lay people off? That's a choice. Or you reduce their hours. That's another choice. Whether, that fluctuates production or decreases production a little bit, who knows? They can iron out the details. But that is also a way to become a little bit more profitable, in my personal opinion. So it does appear to me that Tesla has started taking the steps under the surface that Wall Street hasn't figured out yet, that they are going to focus on becoming more profitable. We just got this news today that starting from now on, if you buy a new Tesla, and for anyone that owns a Tesla right now that has the hardware for FSD, will get 1 month free FSD trials. Now, this has the potential to grow Tesla's software as a service business, their FSD business, huge. Of course, giving a FSD free trial a year ago didn't make sense because it was going to make a mistake, I'm sure, and people don't want to buy that. But now it's gotten so good that you can confidently do this free trial and your conversion rates might go up quite a bit, especially if Elon and the Tesla team start to cut the price of FSD. That's going to be even better, especially if they cut the price of the subscription service for FSD. Let's say cut that in half, cut it down to $100 a month. I think you're going to get a lot more people that start to purchase that, especially with the improvements that we've seen to FSD. I can make a whole video on that, but I do think you're at a point where Tesla stock has gotten beaten up. The consensus is so negative around Tesla. There's nothing priced in good for Tesla. Tesla has started to show these signs of focusing more on profitability, and you're at a moment where you've never been closer to the FSD robotaxi network. All of these things scream to me, Tesla stock should be higher than where it is. Do I know when these events are going to happen? Of course not, right? I don't know when these events are going to transpire, like the Robotaxi network. But I believe the markets are not even factoring that in at all. You could also throw in there the Cybertruck. The Cybertruck, designed from the start, was meant to be a polarizing product. You either love it or you hate it, but you look at it. I've heard, obviously, I don't have my Cybertruck yet. I don't know when I'm going to get that. I'm in Michigan, so I'm pretty far away. I'm probably not, top of mind for Tesla. I'm probably not on the top of the list. But neither here or there. It was designed to be a polarizing product. It's designed to, I believe, give the business a halo effect. So think about this logically. The Tesla team is brilliant for this. At just the time they start focusing on profitability, not about cutting prices anymore, they have a new polarizing product that as you scale the Cybertruck, as you get more celebrities with the Cybertruck, more people start to know about it, will start to cause a halo effect for the Tesla brand and boost sales organically just by the halo effect, the word of mouth, and the presence of the vehicle. I've heard you're like a celebrity if you're driving the Cybertruck. In any world, I don't care, this world or another planet trillions and trillions of light years away. Anytime you get a polarizing product like that, you are going to do well. Okay, that's just the bottom line to it. Skip the semantics. You're going to do well with a polarizing product that already has a good brand behind it, like Tesla. And I could also make a whole entire video on that, but that's going to be beneficial to Tesla for a long time. So you could have the Cybertruck bringing in all of these new consumers to Tesla at a time in which Tesla starts to focus more on profitability, in which, well, the Fed just raised rates at the fastest, most aggressive pace in Tesla's business history. As rates go lower and monthly payments start to fall, watch 10-year treasuries for that. 10-year treasuries are really what auto payments are based around, not the federal funds rate, but the federal funds rate affects 10-year treasuries. Nonetheless, when that payment goes down, Tesla's going to start raising prices. What happens when you put stress on a business? When you put profitability stress on a business? They become a lean machine. They become the most fine-tuned, oiled-up machine that you have ever seen that business be. And that's where you are with Tesla. The cost of goods sold, the COGS, continue to fall down to the lowest price ever it's costed Tesla to manufacture a Tesla at about $37,000. When Tesla's able to start raising prices, that should be purely accretive to the bottom line. Again, cause Tesla's EPS and profitability to really expand. And this is, simply put, not priced into Tesla stock over the next coming years at all. Are these things going to happen, overnight? Of course not. But I think Wall Street today really got a whiff of the start of what Tesla's software as a service business could become, let alone any of the other things that I just mentioned. And I think Wall Street is way behind the ball. I am confident in what I'm saying, and I believe all of this will happen. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not a financial advisor. Do not listen to what I'm saying as financial advice. This is simply what I'm thinking about and how I'm investing my money. And I started making YouTube videos because nobody I know liked stocks or talked about stocks or gave a crap about their money. And I just wanted to have an outlet to share my opinions and different things going on and form a community. And that's what this has really evolved into. And I thank you guys for being here every single day. But with that said, again, do not listen or copy anything that I do. And then last but not least, what I will say on this topic, because there's other things I want to talk about, like delivery numbers, my opinions on that, and earnings and what earnings could bring for the stock and how the stock could trade, where the stock could go. The last thing I want to say is eventually, maybe it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years away. I would say like 0 to 5 years away, you're going to start getting the deployment of the Robotaxi network. And I think a lot of people have lost sight of that. Just for consideration, everyone was super bullish on Tesla, besides the bears that have been the bears from the start in Tesla, back in 2021 because of the Robotaxi network. Nobody was really buying Tesla expecting the car business to support an over $1 trillion valuation. They were always buying it for full self-driving. And that is coming one way or another, however long it takes. Now you've seen a lot more encouraging developments on that front. So I'm thinking it's going to come sooner rather than later. I think within the next 12 to 24 months, you are going to have permits. I always say permits, applications being filed in major cities to start the Robotaxi network. I'm talking San Francisco, Phoenix, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, probably first areas in which that already have Robotaxis operating in them currently, like Cruise or Waymo. I think the regulatory process is going to be a little bit easier in those areas, but nonetheless, that's your big upside. I think everything else that I said takes Tesla to $700-800 per share, right? I think FSD is where you get that 10x. Optimus is where you get that 10 plus X. Okay. And that's the longer term sense. Now, here in the short term, this is where things get pretty interesting because Elon's a very unpredictable person. We know this. And when you speak about earnings, everyone has their own opinions. I'm not expecting things are going to be fantastic. Wall Street doesn't need things to be fantastic. Wall Street just needs to know things are going to get better from here, not worse. Now, earnings are expected to be on April 17th for Tesla. And I do believe we are going to get some favorable commentary around profitability for Tesla. I don't know if we're going to get select guidance or specific guidance on margins or anything else because they already didn't give it. They're probably not going to give it now. If they did, that would be great. The Tesla team having confidence enough to give guidance on maybe margins or some other metric. I don't think unit volume guidance is coming though. Let's just be honest there. And if it did, that's a really good sign. But I do think you're going to get Wall Street starting to understand Tesla's going to focus more on profitability. I think they're going to talk about that, especially on the earnings call. Now, the last 4 quarters, you've also been down about 10%, following earnings 9+%, 4 quarters in a row. That's pretty dang rare. That's unheard of for a company the size of Tesla. I think this could be the earnings where that ultimately changes, right? And there's going to be other things talked about, lots of exciting things, I'm sure. But I do believe this is going to be a positive earnings for Tesla. And where it can take the stock, I think it really depends on what is said. So I don't want to speculate too much, but I don't think Tesla is going to be in the, sub 200s for that long after April 17th. Again, that's the expected earnings date. It's not yet confirmed by Tesla, so that date could change. The biggest catalyst we have upcoming is on April 2nd, the day after my birthday, on April 1st. Yes, my life's a joke. I've heard the joke all the time. I was born on April 1st. Yeah, the next day, you're going to get the delivery numbers for Q1. They're going to be bad. Wall Street's likely to give Tesla a pass for that unless they're like 420,000 or less. I think they're going to be about 445, 450 or so, 450,000, 445,000. Could they be lower? Of course they could be. If I'm right, I think Tesla stock goes higher on that. If I'm wrong, then I think, again, like Gary Black says, Wall Street will give Tesla a pass. In a new Morgan Stanley Adam Jonas note, I talked about this at the end of the last video. I just want to reiterate this again because it's going to make a pretty good point. He says, quote, "We know it's very hard to imagine today, but we eventually expect to potentially see a load of new products coming out of Tesla and expect the stock to eventually price this in well ahead of their respective launches. We estimate Tesla's current model lineup leaves over 80% of the US market by segment/volume weighted completely unaddressed. We look forward to an eventful second half of 2024. Now, that's a very strong statement to say about Tesla, a company that really doesn't announce products. You hear all the time, like GM's gonna have 30 new EV models coming to market by 2026, or this company or that company is gonna have 30 or 10 or 20 models coming to market, whatever the number is. Well, Tesla doesn't do that, and they're historically known for not putting out many new models. I find it very fascinating that Morgan Stanley's Adam Jonas specifically points out the second half of 2024 as being eventful in regards to new potential models being launched. We know the Model 2 will be coming. I didn't even mention that in my kind of all-in investment thesis. And again, it's not all-in per se. It's just a lot of money that I want to put in Tesla here. I didn't even mention that, but that's a huge freaking catalyst. I probably should have mentioned it, but I guess if you're watching this video, you got another catalyst on top of it. Adam Jonas is basically saying you're probably going to get more than just the Model 2 announced. Adam Jonas says in this new note as well, Tesla and cattle, can this battery power couple recharge the US EV market? Quote, "In our view, Tesla is in a very strong position to on-ramp Chinese EV tech to the US. In leveraging Chinese manufacturing know-how, Tesla can deliver a $25,000 EV and drive EV adoption in the US. They reiterate their overweight rating." Now, Elon Musk just said on X at 2:56 p.m. today, Tesla's self-driving AI will be vastly better than humans. And he means human drivers. There's no way that's not going to be successful. And Elon is showing a lot of confidence in this latest round or latest update of FSD in multiple different ways, based on what he's saying and based on the actions from Tesla, the new mandated demo drive of FSD before you take purchase of your Tesla, as well as the free trial of FSD you get afterwards. It's only a matter of time. Sam Corris, he is the Director of Research for Autonomous Technology and Robotics at ARK Invest. He made this post here less than an hour ago, 52 minutes ago. He says a humanoid robot is less than a tenth the weight of a car. Can the manufacturing ramp be 10x that of a vehicle? Does that even matter? Seems like the constraint is going to be software capability, not manufacturing capability. Elon Musk responds again like 30 minutes ago, and says complexity per unit mass is much higher with humanoid robots, but still I think it ends up costing less than half of a car. So you're talking about robots that are long run, not going to be too expensive. Again, we don't know what that will look like in the near term. If Tesla really does ship Optimus to companies in the near term, what's the pricing going to be? Obviously not half the price of a car. But longer term, that's where you open up the mass markets to robots, to Optimus. And maybe I shouldn't say mass markets, I guess, per se, because still half the price of a car, $25,000 or so, call it that, $15,000, whatever your number is. That's still kind of expensive. That's not like an iPhone or something everyone has, but pretty much the mass market. And I also shared this in the last video. Is like the last thing we talked about in the last video, so I will share it again here in this video. It says, former Waymo engineer says first day at Tesla is already mind-blowing. We specifically shared this guy's story. He initially back in 2019 was choosing between Waymo and Tesla. He went with Waymo. At that time, back in 2019, Waymo was more of a concept project. They actually got robotaxis operational. He's back at Tesla. Today was his first day, and it's already mind-blowing. I think it's safe to say there are things that Tesla is working on that we just can't even understand as retail investors. And part of that is because Tesla, well, Elon specifically on the last earnings call said they have to be careful with what they share with people, with what they share with investors, because other companies come in and try to steal what they're doing. Tesla really wants to keep a competitive edge. They have to be a little bit more private. But I believe there are things and improvements going on that we just don't even know about yet. But that is a little bit more along the lines of speculation. Here in the short term, anything can happen with Tesla stock. But over the next, couple of years, 10 years, medium to longer term time horizon, I believe Tesla is the best relative safest big tech stock that you can buy out there with the largest upside from here. I wouldn't be saying this necessarily if Tesla was at all-time highs. I still think the upside would be good, but just for a little bit of context, for Tesla to 10x right now, that would put the stock at a $5 trillion market cap. If Tesla was $400 per share and it were to 10x, that would put it at almost a $20 trillion market cap. Or $15 trillion market cap or so. There's a big difference. Just think about it like this as well. If Tesla was at all-time highs right now and it 10x from all-time highs, which, always anything can happen, right, to the upside, that would be equivalent of a 30x plus from where Tesla is at today. So, what's a 20x, right? Not even a 10x from Tesla's all-time highs. So buying this stock now just looks very attractive to me. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions on all of this down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel. In the short term, I do think you look pretty good for Tesla. Now that you're above this trend line, which I called out in prior videos, the video yesterday, at about $177 per share, you're at currently $178.72 per share. Could you fall under that? Of course. But from my perspective, you're probably going to make your way back into the high 180s. This line is here at 188. That would be filling the gap down that you've seen on March 4th. I think that probably happens. Wouldn't even be surprised if that happens this week. Tesla stock is up 0.61% in after hours. You're starting to overall get this shift in Tesla that is very encouraging, and it might be a shift that can really start to materialize, especially if Q1 earnings are as centralized and focused around profitability as I think they are going to be. If that's the case, Tesla stock may have truly hit its bottom at 160. So whether you're a bull or a bear, hopefully you found, good, I guess, points in this video that you agree with. Maybe you don't agree with things. Let me know what you don't agree with or what you do agree with down below in the comment section. Nonetheless, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. If you guys want to come trade with us live in real time, get access to all of the trades that I make every time I buy Tesla, trade other stocks, trade the broader markets, or just buy other stocks for the long term. Check that out. Link down below in the description of this video. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.